Ahoy there, Elder Scrolls Legends fans. I'm Dead Broke Nerd, and I am here with round 2 of Consume Archer. Yes, I say round 2 not because of round 1 ever made it to you guys, but because I tried to make a video on my Consume Archer, and YouTube kicked it out for me accidentally having music playing in the background from the Eagles for like a small 30-40 second part of the video. Dang it. But that's okay, because I went ahead and I got to play some more with this deck. And by the way, this deck is still really, really fun. I have not really made many changes, but I would not call this refined either. So obviously, you might want to try a few things here and there different depending on your personal playstyle, what cards you have, because I think there's a way to play this with different tech choices and stuff like that. But I'm going to go into what I've got going on here. It actually did pretty well on stream a week ago or so when I played it on ladder. It had I think it was like a 14-5 win rate or something along those lines. Regardless, it surprised me because I never really thought Consume Archer would have been that great. But I tried it and I loved it. I think there's something here. Okay. So I just really want to talk about it real fast. The one thing I do want to point out, however, is that I am not running the imbued Bosmer. I really want to mention this. I think that's something that somebody might notice right off the bat. What? You're not running all the imbued cards? That's so lame, right? I don't think this card is really worth running in this type of deck. It's a very aggressive deck. This is not an aggressively statted creature. The lethal isn't really that useful when you're trying to hit face. So I just don't think the imbued Bosmer is worth running here. You may try it. Let me know if it's really working for you, and I'll consider giving it a go myself. But I think this card is a little bit of a trap, okay? So I just wanted to cover that real fast in case anybody was wondering why it's not in here. It's not an oversight, it's a choice, okay? But in that slot, we're running Mudcrab Merchants because the Mudcrab is he's a good man. He gives us cards. We like cards. We use cards. We run the Mudcrab, okay? Also in the one slots, we have Shadow Shifts and Scimitars. No explanation needed there, I should hope. And then we hit the 2-drops. And 2-drops are where this maybe feels a little weak. I'm not sure yet. There hasn't really been a lot of great leading 2s besides the Mournhold Trader. All of the other leading 2s feel kind of weak, right? We have Circle Initiate, which wants to come down when you already have a board and you're about to break a rune. We've got the Crocodile Brutes, which you can lead with this, and when it dies, that's great, because if you follow up with a Euraxian Berserker or a Enraged Dragonite or any consume effect, really, this thing gets that card. That's great. This actually has worked really well, better than I thought it would, the Crocodile Brutes. And then there's the 2 Gloom Lurkers and the 3 Surin Pawnbrokers. These have kind of gone... The Pawnbrokers have never gone out, but again, they kind of feel bad leading with them because you don't get the value, but they're still a 2-3 for 2, so if you don't have a card to play first, still play them on 2 for 2-3. It's just a smart play. Don't get too greedy with the effect. But the Gloom Lurkers have gone out of this deck a couple times, and I keep putting them back in because they're actually somewhat handy. Getting to protect my, Mournhold Traders from getting traded into are really nice. Same with, Withered Hand Cultists, which you really want to protect in a lot of matchups. So, yeah, and then I also tried the Ebon Thread and the Ornament Sword, one of each because of the Mobilize. I've actually been a huge fan of these 2-cost red Mobilize items. I think they're so good for red as a color. I think they're good in a lot of decks. Obviously, you can put them on creatures, push for more damage. You can protect something from getting killed by an action with the Ebon Thread. I can even see cutting 2 Gloom Lurkers and going to 2 of each of these as well, but I've got it there because I do like the utility from Gloom Lurker plus the Prophecy, okay? The 3-drops are pretty easy. 3 Corner Club Gamblers, the main thing you want to know is to discard your Crocodile Brutes and discard your imbued Minotaurs with this so that you can then consume them earlier in the game, okay? It's okay if you play them out and need them to die first, like the Minotaur specifically. He's still got that big aggressive body, 5 attack. That's pretty awesome. But it's also pretty nice when you can discard him early, get those cards for the Gambler, and then consume the Minotaur to make yourself a lovely 5/5 3-drop with Breakthrough. I heard that's pretty good. What's nice about this deck is that you have a lot of cards with 4 defense. So you have the Euraxian Berserker, the Withered Hand Cultist, the Dragon Knight. All of these 3s and 4s have 4 defense so they don't get ice stormed. Additionally, you can put scimitars on things so that won't get, dead to ice storm. The point is, these actually are fairly resilient for a very aggressive deck. A lot of creatures with 3 and 4 defense actually means it's a lot harder for your opponent to trade into, as opposed to different builds of aggressive archer that want to use like Dune Smugglers and stuff, which are really easy to just kind of ping off, here and there. So it actually gives it a little more resiliency than I think other aggro archer decks typically have. The last thing I really want to point out is the MVP for the deck, which has really been the Illicit Butcher, and I think this is what makes the aggressive archer archetype viable again. Just simply being able to play a 4/3 that consumes for a shackle is really good. Being able to have a Shrieking Harpy with good stats on 4, obviously you have the upside of the consume when it works, but you're never going to get to 4 and not have a dead creature, and if you do, you're probably already going to win the game. If you get to 4 and you have no creatures died on your side, you're probably winning the game because your opponent hasn't been able to remove your stuff, right? So Illicit Butcher has this big payoff, and just being able to, your opponent slams a good answer into the shadow lane where you are and wants to trade with it on the next turn, you shackle it. Then you get the trade when you want, or just keep going face. This card has been absolutely monstrous for me. I think this is what makes the deck worthwhile to play. And then, of course, finally, we do have Cliff Racers because they're charge, and a Giant Snake. Giant Snake, I would almost want to put to 2. In fact, I may end up doing that. One of the games that we played that I will attach does have a great moment where, even though we may not win because of it, Giant Snake put us in a position to make a really great play on the following turn. So Giant Snake is, I think, a 1-buy in any aggressive green deck, maybe even a 2-buy in this deck. Notably, things you could try out in this deck that I don't have right now, you could try Syl. Syl might be really interesting to play in this deck. If you want a more aggressive 2 that isn't quite so, combo, doesn't, a leading 2, right? You could go with the Afflicted Alet, because that is going to kind of pair nicely with your Enraged Dragonites in order to trigger your own runes against control decks. So that could be really cool. It also just immediately comes in and deals 2 damage. That's pretty aggressive. And besides that, that's about it. I really think this deck is pretty close. We'll just see if there's other things. Again, I think maybe the 6-drop, 7-drop slot might have a couple things worth playing. Maybe Razumdar. Haven't tried that yet. But ultimately, I think this deck is in a pretty decent position. I hope you guys enjoy the games that I'm going to attach and give this deck a try. Of course, let me know if you enjoyed it. And yeah. All right, looks like we got a game. Let's see what we can do with this Consume Archer, huh? Man, I really just like playing Archer. Archer, I think, has been one of my favorite, classes for a long time. Actually, it was the first deck I built in Elder Scrolls. We have the Mournhold Trader, which we're definitely going to keep. The Steel Scimitar Quarter Club, it's iffy. The Scimitar just kind of gets punished by a few things. I'm going to throw the Scimitar back. Just because we're against Telvanni. The Withered Hand Cultist is exactly what we want against Telvanni for sure. Alright, so we're just going to pass. It's a nice little premium right there. Alright, nothing for my opponent on turn 1. We're going to go with the Mournhold Trader. You can trust me, yada, yada, yada. We're going to see a Harpy. Maybe a Cruel Fire Bloom. No Cruel Fire Bloom. Okay. So now we go with... we probably just play the Withered Hand Cultist, actually. We'll put it Shadow. So what that's doing is it's kind of, if my opponent wants to go with a 2-mana Cruel Fire Bloom, it's probably, right now, it's probably the correct choice, but we'll see how it pans out. Double Harpies to try to contain my Mournhold Trader. And we're going to see a Slime Marshblade come down as well. Okay. I do have a Shadow Shift. It hurts me, but I could save my Mournhold Trader. Right now, my consume effects are giving me a hard time, so we're going to go with the Corner Club. We're going to go in for 3, play the Corner Club. We're going to discard the Crocodile Brute, of course. My opponent's going to get this trade. That sucks. He's going to get a guard in the field lane, but I think it'll be okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn the music on, actually. Shadowfen negates my Corner Club. That sucks. However, left my Withered Hand Cultist around. We're gonna swing for 3. No Prophecy. We're gonna go with our Illicit Butcher.
I have your scent and soon.
Consuming the crocodile brute allows me to draw a card. And then I will throw a shackle down on the Shadowfen, throw a mudcrab merchant down the field lane to contest this. Okay, we have an Ash Piercer, which will deal 3 damage to a creature if I have a creature of 5 power or more, or if I have a creature in both lanes, give something -2, -2. Both of these are removal, and I don't really like that that is the case. I think I take the Dread Mage only because it's higher stats, and it's going to be harder for Telvanni to get someone with 5 power or more. I just got to remember that they have a deal 3 damage. So we'll take the Dread Mage. All right. Can't play Ice Storm because we've got our Withered Hand Cultist. And luckily we have a second Withered Hand Cultist ready to go. Let's see if my opponent decides to trade here. I don't think they will. Removes my Corner Club Gamblers from the deck. That is quite smart. That's probably what I would do as well. Yeah. The other options is a Mournhold Trader. Okay, so we're going to go with... We're going to make this trade. I'm going to make this trade as well. We're going to swing for... we're going to Shadow Shift first. Yeah.
Enjoy the next life, fool.
Okay, we're going to swing for 3. And then I want to put down... The Berserker's a 4/4, or the Withered Hand is another... Is a 3/4. I'm going to play the Berserker because I want to use the Withered Hand again. So once my first Withered Hand goes away, I play the second one just to keep the, hand pressure up. So we'll consume that. Get a 4/4. All right. Now, I could have put that Shadow if I wanted my Empire Dread Mage to be playable next turn, which maybe I should have done. Right now, it's looking probably like these two. These two coming down. 4 Magicka plays the Preserver of the Root. Okay, so next turn that'll be a 6/6, and so that will activate the damagey thing that my opponent has. The damagey thing. The Ash Piercer. There we go. Let's put this on the... Let's put this on the Withered Hand Cultist. No. Let's see. Either way, whichever one it dies, it's going to have 2 health. So we want to put it on our Euraxian Berserker. Trade. We'll swing for 3. We'll put the Crocodile Brute down over here. It's okay if that dies. And then we will play ourselves the second Withered Hand Cultist. I'm waiting on the the Dragon Knight for the consume off the Crocodile Brute. So we're going to play the Withered Hand Cultist over here. So we have double action pressure. I mean, this is ideal. This is why they're in the deck. To stop Telvanni's and Tribunals and hopefully make their hands extremely clunky. Now, we do know that Telvanni tends to have a lot of small creatures that they can still play, and they've been playing them. But, the Empire Dreadmage should be a nice little secret weapon we've got squirreled away.
This should help you.
Shadowfen's going to silence one of my Shadowfens? No, silences my Euraxian Berserker. Interesting. I guess that makes sense. Unfortunately for my opponent, I am going to punish this pretty hard with the Dreadmage. We're going to swing first, though.
You have met your end.
No, actually, we're going to Dreadmage.
Be gone or forfeit your life.
I'll rip you apart.
Alright, that went pretty good. I'm going to assume my opponent's going to trade into my Crocodile Brute, which will play right into my hand next turn, give me another card, fuel my my guys here. My Dragonite, my Berserker. And when we do play this next turn, we will play the Berserker, not the Dragon Knight, because we'll want to see what we... I mean, we may play both, but we'll play the Berserker first, because we'll get the card draw. And then what we'll be able to do is see if that... Maybe we get like a Cliff Racer or something that is a giant snake or something that's a higher cost than the Dragon Knight that maybe we want to play with that. Or instead of that, rather. All right. Looks like I'm having a hard time figuring out how to play it. Can't say I blame them when everything costs, all that your actions cost 4 more, and you're staring down 13 damage on board.
Time to make more enemies.
Ah, Baron's Eye is going to give guard there. That makes a lot of sense. Maybe should have played Galen first to get 2 guards. But we shall see. A Shadow Shift here would be great. Looks like an imbued Minotaur, excuse me. We're going to go with the Euraxian Berserker. We'll put it Shadow. And we're going to hope for, like a Shadow Shift or
Here I come.
A Cliff Racer. Going to get ourselves a Mud Crab Merchant. Well, you never know what that can get you. So we'll play that... we'll play that Shadow as well. Soul Burst. Deal 2 damage to all enemies. -1 for each unique creature in your discard pile. Well, I'm pretty sure we don't run a lot of uniques. That would suck to give our opponent, though. That said, Clockwork Dragon... Clockwork Dragon's a big body. I guess we take the Clockwork Dragon, which is unfortunate because we do have to give our opponent a Soul Burst. But we'll put the Clockwork Dragon over here. It gets Drain. We have a lot of damage. And 2 more burst from the Dragon Knight. So healing, my opponent healing for 6 feels really, really bad. And potentially Baron's Eye bails him out of a bad spot. Once Baron Zaya and Galen die, a Soul Burst is coming shortly after. So we have to try to win next turn. 100% we're trying to win next turn. Now, Forced to Attack Face actually gives me a card.
We are not amused.
Illicit Butcher could be good, shackling down their Baron Zaya.
You'll not be rid of me.
Schemer's looking for an out. Fire Bloom, come on, roll onto my Mud Crab. That was a 5 Magicka Cruel Fire Bloom, by the way. Or 4 Magicka Cruel Fire Bloom, by the way. So this is 6-9, so 6-9, 13, 14. We do have lethal, as long as we don't mess it up. So we go
I'll rip you apart.
4,
Enjoy the next
3,
something.
Enraged Dragon Knight.
I will be triumphant.
Takes him to 6, and then we get the Rune Skip with the Clockwork Dragon, the Gloom Lurker, and that's gonna be game taking down that Telvanni. Oh, that feels really good. Gotta love taking down a Telvanni or 2. All right, we're gonna see what we can do. See if we can't get another great game like the last one. Okay, going up against Daggerfall. We can expect a lot of wards, probably some beefy creatures. I've seen some people messing around with dragons in Daggerfall. I'm not so sure if that's the way to go, but I've seen it. This is an interesting hand and quite frankly a tempting one, right? We know we keep the Mournhold Trader for sure. The question is, like, do we keep the Brute and Berserker? Because I suppose if my opponent answers me cleanly the first couple turns, then this is great. Otherwise, the Berserker is a little lacking. I think I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna take the greedy approach and see how it works out. If anything, it'll give us some good information.
Welcome, friend.
Well met, marsh friend.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the Mournhold Trader.
Trust me.
And this is actually smoothed out a little bit because what we can do is we can go Shadow Shift Crocodile Brute as needed to avoid some issues. Although actually my opponent plays the Barrow Stalker. So what we're going to do instead is we're just going to build up into this lane over here. So that means the Mud Crab will go first because it'll generate something. Oh my gosh, Joran the Scald King. We're definitely going to take Joran because the Great Wood Elder we can... I mean, it's a guard. Friendly creatures cost 1. We go with Joran, I think. Joran's just better. Although I'm talking myself, as I'm talking up Joran, I'm sitting here looking at the guard and saying, do I really want to try to go around this? You know what I mean? I mean, Joran doesn't hurt us so much because we have all creatures and items except for the Shadow Shifts. Greatwood Elder, on the other hand, is a big guard that my opponent can play not this turn, but the following turn. I honestly think I get the Greatwood Elder.
Aid me.
Because that's the thing. Joran hurts... the Greatwood Elder hurts me more than the Joran hurts me, right? And Greatwood Elder could potentially even just protect our Mournhold Trader, right? Okay. So we're going to go trade, and then play out the Enraged Dragon Knight. So now the Enraged Dragon Knight comes down. We consume the Crocodile Brute. We deal 2 damage. Bop. And we pass. Now, if my opponent plays Joran here, we're actually pretty happy because we get to use the Illicit Butcher and shackle it down. What's really nice about this deck is that as your creatures get removed by your opponents, the consume effects from like Berserker and Dragon Knight start kind of utilizing that and getting extra value, right? I mean, think about it. A 5-mana or 4-mana 5/4 that deals 2 damage to both players when it comes in would be played. The cost really isn't that much considering you're actually getting it a lot of times before it's, you know, too scary, right? Rather, you're getting the creatures dead before it would come in anyways, and so then it comes down and it's really scary. I know I confused probably the hell out of you guys working my way through that thought process, but nonetheless, what we can do is we can Shadow Shift and clear. What I'm not sure about is what I do after that. I suppose I Butcher, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna Shadow Shift. We're gonna remove this Drain. We're going to go with the Illicit Butcher, and we're going to place it field, because if this gets removed by something little, I don't want to be stuck over there. We're going to shackle that, and we're going to pass. See, what's really cool, too, is that you get all these big bodies, a bunch of 4-attack creatures, you know? It's pretty satisfying. Like, the 4-drops in here are solid. So what we're going to look to do is over the next couple turns, if we decide we want to play the Corner Club, we want to discard the Minotaur with it. Oh boy, that's bad. Oh, that's real bad. Yeah. Whew. Okay. So we're gonna deal 4 to the face. We're gonna go. So this is gonna get cleared. I've got to imagine he's got a Wardcrafter or something. If he goes face with 11, I'm probably in trouble. I really needed to hit my Earthbone Spinner here, and I did not. So I think I need to Butcher.
Even the gods won't hear.
Ooh, but I don't have anything to pair it with, so I need to go 2 3-drops. I'm gonna go
Care to make a friendly wager?
like this,
Here I come.
and then Berserker. And we're gonna try to win through this lane
Even
before
the
my
gods
opponent
won't
does.
hear your screams.
I mean, I can break through this guard that he puts down pretty easy. What we've got is another butcher that can shackle whatever big thing, and if he plays the reward over here, the worst thing would be a battle mace. The battle mace would be probably game over. I don't think I could win after a battle mace on the corrupted shade. But if he doesn't have a reward, then maybe we get this.
Deserves another.
Oh no! Oh, so I'm about to take another 6 damage. I guess I play this, conceal, and we hope to draw Earthbone Spinner. Or a silence off of this. Oh, the giant snake! That's what we needed. Oh man, yeah. I mean, that's just the game plan, and maybe the game.
Inside. Have business with House
We got ourselves a Nord Firebrand. I'm actually gonna ping the ward off with this. Yeah. Okay, that giant snake might have just won us the game. Oh man, if he's got a silence on this guy though, it does remove his stats. Oh, he must have a lightning bolt. Oh, he's got a lightning bolt.
By Arcade's beard.
Spinner. Oh, he's got the double silence. Oh no! Oh, good game. Good game. Good game. I think that was actually a really good one. Even though we lost, I think it's important to attach that. I mean, we can see that that was a really exciting one, and also one that you can definitely see the power level of Giant Snake. I mean, if my opponent didn't have the ways to unshackle his guys, we were probably going to win that one. But I hope you guys enjoy Consume Archer. Give it a try. If you, I wouldn't call it refined. So if you decide, hey, this is actually working better for me with this different card in here, or this one's not really ideal, I tried this and I really liked it, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm always happy to check it out. I'm happy to try it. I'll probably be playing this a little bit on stream in the next couple of weeks. So let me know what you think. Anyways, have a good one, guys.